Chapter 1736. Sun Jingyi's worries. That's true, but in the end, our Kong family might not be able to refine this formula. Moreover, our Kong family is in the limelight because of this. If we don't get any benefits, we will be at a disadvantage. Kong Mingming said with a bitter face. If that's the case. Yu Zhintian hesitated for a moment, then said, in the future, our hidden Yu family can help your Kong family in secret, and we can also refine some rare medicinal pills for you to sell, but you must not expose this layer of identity. This way it was equivalent to the hidden Yu family finding a spokesperson in the secular world, and they could even earn some money. It was a win-win situation. Of course, when the time comes, our Kong family will unite with the Shao family through marriage. To the outside world we will say that we have the support of the Shao family and the hidden house Pai. We will not let the hidden Yu family be involved in this matter. Dr. Kong didn't expect Yu Zhintian to give the Kong family benefits, and he was even more optimistic about his grandson, Kong Mingming. In fact, Kong Ming was just asking with the mentality of trying it out. Anyway, they were partners. If he made more requests, the hidden Yu family wouldn't do anything to the Kong family, so he might as well give it a try. After the matter was settled, Yu Zhintian left the Kong family with his follower, Yu San. At the same time, a few families close to Lin Yi Old Man Song reacted, and on the other side Old Man Sun also reacted. After Old Man Sun returned to the Sun family with Sun Jingyi and Sun Yikai, he held a family meeting and announced two important decisions. The first decision was that Sun Yikai was appointed as the next heir of the Sun family by Old Man Sunday. This decision made Sun Yikai's elder brother and Sun Yikai's uncle a little shocked and angry, but Old Man Sun had always been a man of his word. Moreover, they also knew what happened at the meeting. This was the rule set by the Earth class master. If they were dissatisfied, it was useless to talk to Old Man Sunday. If they had the ability to argue with Lin Yi, why not? But did they dare to? Therefore they could only be angry but did not dare to say anything. They could only be angry about Old Master Sun's appointment, but did not dare to say anything. The second important decision was to stop interfering with Sun Jingyi's marriage and let Sun Jingyi return to the family so that she could manage some of the family's businesses and work together with Sun Yikai as a liaison for the Cultivator Association. Of course, Grandpa Sun also hinted that Sun Jingyi's main task was to build a good relationship with Lin Yi. As for the company in Donghai, she didn't need to run it anymore. She could just sell it because Sun Jingyi didn't need to prove anything to her family. Regarding this decision, although Sun Jingyi was a little embarrassed, she was also very happy. She finally didn't need to run away from home to open a company to prove anything. In the family she also had a certain amount of freedom. As long as the family didn't force her to marry someone she didn't like, she would be satisfied. And as a girl, it was too tiring to work hard outside, so Sun Jingyi happily decided to sell the company and focus on taking care of the family's business. Moreover, she was also under the family's order to contact Lin Yi, which made her a little happy. But after feeling happy, Sun Jingyi suddenly froze. Why was she so happy? Was it because of the family's recognition and gave her a certain amount of freedom, or was it because she could see Lin Yi often? Could it be that she fell in love with Lin Yi? Sun Jingyi was a little lost. In the past she never thought about this problem. She only thought about how to get rid of the restrictions of her family and Wu Chintian, but she never had the time to think about her own love. But once she relaxed, she couldn't help but think in this direction. Thinking back to how she and Lin Yi met, it was a little strange. Wu Chintian, who was always arrogant, was defeated in front of Lin Yi. This made Sun Jingyi surprised for the first time in her life. This person could actually defeat Wu Chintian, who came from a noble house and even took advantage of him, stealing his wallet. This made Sun Jingyi feel a little strange. When she asked about Lin Yi's profession, Lin Yi actually told her that he was a pirate. As she got to know more about Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi suddenly realized that Lin Yi was a lot stronger than she thought. And after that, Wu Chintian became Lin Yi's follower, surprising Sun Jingyi. It was then that Sun Jingyi realized that she didn't understand Lin Yi at all. There were still many things she didn't know, and this meeting of the noble houses once again made Sun Jingyi see Lin Yi again. He'd managed to influence the entire noble house meeting by himself, and even after Shuixing had taken the pill, he'd managed to turn the tables and turn the situation around. Sun Jingyi couldn't believe her eyes. In the blink of an eye, Lin Yi's position had replaced House Yu's, becoming the core of these noble houses. He even created the Practitioners' Association, replacing the noble house meeting. All these miracles had happened to the great bandit that he had met by chance in a bar, and he had done it all on his own. If Sun Jingyi hadn't seen it with her own eyes, Sun Jingyi would have found it hard to believe. Was this still the Lin Yi she knew, the one who was occasionally cold and joking around? Lin Yi's strength made Sun Jingyi's heart feel a little fuzzy. The master of House Yu arrived. This person didn't look like much and there was nothing special about him. If he were to blend in with the crowd, it would be impossible to tell him apart. And such a person was an Earth-class mid-phase master. This was a risky thing to do, and if something went wrong, they couldn't bring out House Yu to avoid being blamed by the Hidden Noble House Association. But at the same time, the rewards promised by House Yu were extremely generous. Once this was done, the Hidden House Yu promised to give him a large amount of lesser qi gathering pills to help him train. The difference between lesser qi gathering pills and other pills was that lesser qi gathering pills weren't pure, and the increase in strength from each pill was limited. However, there wouldn't be any negative side effects after ingesting it, and one could continue to absorb the energy from nature. With a generous reward, there would always be a brave man, and so this Earth-class master hid his identity and came to House Kong to participate in the kidnapping plan. Just as House Kong was celebrating, Xiaolong's lips curled into a sinister smile. He'd been waiting for this chance for far too long, and it was finally here. That night, when House Kong held a meeting to discuss how to kidnap Guan Xian and how to get the recipe, Xiaolong brought up his own idea. Chapter 1737. The operation this time is too risky. As far as I know, that Lin Yi isn't someone to be trifled with. It's not a good thing for House Kong to be in the limelight. Xiaolong said sarcastically. Don't we have the support of the Hidden House Yu? What are you afraid of? Kong Xiaoming wasn't happy that his big brother suddenly poured cold water on him. Kong Xiaoming naturally knew what his big brother was thinking. He thought that Kong Xiaoming was too capable and that he was better than him, so he wouldn't have a place in the family anymore. Little brother, it's not that I'm a big brother, but the Hidden House Yu said that they can only help us in secret. We can't tell anyone about this. So if something goes wrong and Lin Yi comes back, won't our House Kong be finished? Big brother, I understand what you mean. You just want to cut ties with them, right? Kong Ming sneered and said, if Lin Yi really comes looking for trouble, I'll take responsibility for what I did. I'll take responsibility. It's good. I'm just thinking about the overall benefit of House Kong. I'm not targeting you. Although Xiaolong saw the huge benefits in this matter, at the same time, there was also a huge risk. If Lin Yi came looking for them and the Hidden House Yu didn't care, then House Kong would be in danger. So Xiaolong made it clear first. If nothing went wrong, he would just be a villain for nothing. But if something went wrong, he would be a hero and could regain his position in House Kong. Xiaolong has a point. Although the benefits this time are great, we can't let the whole House Kong get involved. Dr. Kong was also a careful person. He nodded and said, but Xiaoming, it's really hard on you this time. Grandpa, I'm a disciple of House Kong. Naturally, I have to contribute to the development of House Kong. Kong Ming said, I'll tell the public about this. I did it myself. It has nothing to do with House Kong. Okay, we House Kong won't participate in the next plan. You and the Masters of House Yu will plan it. We'll just pretend we don't know anything. Xiaolong pushed the blame away completely. Alright, then let's move out today. Xiaolong's words were chilling, but it was exactly what Kong Ming wanted. Without the participation of the other members of the Kong Ming, all the credit for this matter belonged to him alone. Moreover, he had absolute confidence that he could complete this mission. So what if Lin Yi was an Earth-class early-phase master? On his side, wasn't there another Earth-class mid-phase master? Let's see if Lin Yi has the ability to reverse the situation. Of course, Kong Ming still had a way out. His actions seemed impulsive, but there was a deeper meaning behind them. Once the matter was exposed and he had nowhere to go, he could seek refuge in the Hidden Right family. In his opinion, he had wholeheartedly worked for the Yu family, and this time there was a problem. The Yu family couldn't just sit back and do nothing, right? As long as he took refuge in the Yu family, wouldn't the problem be solved? If he could learn more about alchemy from the Yu family, that would be amazing. Kong Ming had been planning to kidnap Guan Xian for a long time, but he didn't have the right opportunity to make a move. He was also afraid of Lin Yi's strength, so Kong Ming didn't make a move. Now that he had the support of the Hidden Right family, Kong Ming wasn't afraid of anything. This master from the Yu family didn't have a name. In fact, Kong Mingming knew that he didn't want to expose his identity, so he gave himself the name Yushir-san. But it didn't matter. Kong Mingming didn't want to know his name. Kong Mingming was very fast. The second day after moving out of the Kong family, Guan Exin disappeared. Guan Shumin was the same as usual. The servant Nanny Lu prepared dinner, and he sat at the dining table reading the newspaper, waiting for Guan Exin to come back from work. Guan Exin could have quit right now, but she said that she wanted to be on her last shift. After leaving the hospital, she might never be able to return to her job as a nurse, so she treasured the last moments she had left. Professor Guan, the food is cold. Do you want to call Xin and ask her if she's working overtime? Nanny Lu looked at the food on the table and asked Guan Shumin, who was engrossed in reading the newspaper. What time is it? Guan Shumin was slightly stunned, putting down the newspaper in his hand. It's already past 8 in the evening. Normally, if Xin isn't on duty or working overtime, she should be home around 6. Nanny Lu said. I'll call and ask. Guan Shumin frowned slightly. Guan Exin always got off work on time. Even if she was working overtime, she would call to inform him. So he wasn't used to the sudden lack of news from her today. He called Guan Exin's phone and it was picked up quickly. However, it wasn't Guan Exin who picked up the phone, but an unfamiliar man's voice. Hello. The voice was lazy, as if victory was in his grasp. Isn't this Xin's phone number? Who are you? Guan Shumin paused and looked at the number he dialed. He couldn't help but feel a little confused. Miracle Dr. Guan, I thought you didn't care about your granddaughter anymore. It's been so long, what a surprise. The man said slowly. It's been 2 hours, but it's not that long. I was thinking that if you didn't call me in 5 hours, I'd kill the hostage. I don't have that much time to play with you. Kill the hostage? Guan Shumin paused. Who are you really? What do you want? Where's Xin? What happened? Miracle Dr. Guan, you're so knowledgeable. Can't you guess who I am? Of course I'm the kidnapper. This man was Kong Mingming. He'd successfully kidnapped Guan Exin, and was planning to use her to get the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing recipe from Guan Shumin. Xin's in your hands? Guan Shumin had been too worried before, but he calmed down after hearing Kong Mingming's words. What do you want? What do you want? Miracle Dr. Guan, you're a straightforward person. Kong Mingming said. If you want your granddaughter to be safe, you only need to pay a small price, Miracle Dr. Guan. How much do you want? Guan Shumin asked. Isn't it tacky to talk about money? Kong Mingming shook his head. I don't want money. Then what do you want? Guan Shumin was a little confused after hearing Kong Mingming's words. If the kidnapper didn't want money, then what did he want? Guan Shumin asked without batting an eyelid. Miracle Dr. Guan, I heard that you have the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. I wonder if you can give me a copy? Kong Mingming said straightforwardly. Chapter 1738. Of course you don't have to give it to me, but your granddaughter isn't that safe. At least she's safe right now. So that's what you want. Guan Shumin paused after hearing the other's intentions. Are you from House Kong? Currently, the only one competing with Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was House Kang's medical company. If there was someone who desperately wanted the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing's recipe, then House Kong would be the most suspicious. So Guan Shumin's first suspicion was House Kong. Kong Mingming thought that Guan Shumin was smart. Who I am isn't important. What's important is whether you're going to give it to me or not. Miracle Dr. Guan, you're a smart man. It's just a recipe. You won't die if you copy it. But if you don't, someone will. How can I trust you? You want me to listen to Xin's voice? Guan Shumin frowned. I can't hear her voice. She's not with me. But if you don't believe me, there's nothing I can do. Kong Mingming said. I don't like to waste my breath. If Miracle Dr. Guan doesn't believe me, then there's nothing we can do. You'll have to collect your granddaughter's corpse tomorrow. With that, Kong Mingming hung up. He believed that Guan Shumin would call again. As expected, Guan Shumin called again very quickly. Kong Mingming picked it up leisurely. Oh, Miracle Dr. Guan, there's no need to be in such a hurry, is there? I don't care who you are. You better let Exin go or I'll call the police. Guan Shumin said. No matter who you are, you won't be able to get away with it. Call the police? I'm so scared. Kong Mingming curled his lips. Even if you call the police, you'll have to be able to find me first. To tell you the truth, it's impossible for you to use a mobile phone to locate me. I've transferred this number from overseas several times. There's no way you can find me. Don't waste your energy. If you call the police, then there's nothing to talk about. I can only kill the hostage and we'll part ways. Wait. Guan Xuemin saw that Kong Mingming was about to hang up again, so he quickly stopped him. By calling the police, Guan Xuemin was just trying to scare the other party. He wanted to see how confident the other party was. From the looks of it, since the other party dared to do such a thing, it meant that they were well prepared. This was different from ordinary kidnappers. The other party should have made a complete plan. It seemed that there was really no room for negotiation. That was because the other party's goal was very clear. They wanted the formula for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. This was different from asking for a ransom. There was no room for negotiation. What's wrong, Miracle Dr. Guan? Is your granddaughter's life more important or is the formula more important? Kong Mingming asked happily. He knew that Guan Xuemin was going to give in. I can't make the decision about the formula. I'll have to ask around. After all, the company doesn't belong to me alone. Guan Xuemin said helplessly. He could only ask for Lin Yi's opinion on this matter. The formula belonged to Lin Yi. If Lin Yi didn't give it to him, then he could only resign himself to fate. Then go ask around. I'll be waiting for your reply. Kong Mingming hung up. Miracle Dr. Guan hesitated for a moment before dialing Lin Yi's number. He was a little embarrassed, but he had no choice. He could only trouble Lin Yi for this. The other party had made it very clear that he wanted the formula in exchange for Guan Xian's safety. Only Lin Yi could make the decision. At this moment, Lin Yi had just left the province. He found an express hotel with Tang Yun, Meng Yao and Yushu. After dinner, Meng Yao and Skybolt Pig were playing with General Wei Wu. As for the lion, it was left with Wu Chintian. Rest early, we still have a long way to go tomorrow. Lin Yi said as he looked at the three who were having fun. And let's play for a while more. General Wei Wu and Skybolt Pig were staying in the villa's backyard. Meng Yao and the others didn't pay attention to it, but they realized that General Wei Wu was teaching Skybolt Pig martial arts during their journey. And it looked like it was the real deal. They thought that it was very interesting and watched from the side. But Lin Yi knew that Skybolt Pig didn't have any attacking abilities. The things General Wei Wu taught him could save his life in a critical moment. Lin Yi was about to say something when his phone rang. Lin Yi looked at the caller ID and picked it up. Elder Guan, why are you calling me at this hour? What's up? Something happened to Xian. Guan Xuemin didn't say much and went straight to the point. Xian was kidnapped. What? Guan Xian's been kidnapped? Lin Yi paused. What's going on? Elder Guan, don't scare me. Xian got off work today and didn't come home on time. I called her and it was an unfamiliar man's voice. With that, Xuemin explained the whole story. The kidnappers only want the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, so I suspect that it's our competitor. It might be House Kong. House Kong. Lin Yi nodded. Xuemin's analysis wasn't unreasonable, but something like this happening at a time like this made Lin Yi feel helpless. Lin Yi was out of town and Guan Xian was kidnapped. If Lin Yi wanted to save her, he had to go back. I understand your difficulties. If you can't do it, then forget it. After all, the formula is very precious and important. I'll think of another way. Guan Xuemin heard Lin Yi's silence and thought that Lin Yi didn't want to give him the formula. Elder Guan, you misunderstood. It's not that I don't want to give it to you, but I'm out of town and I can't go back. Lin Yi had already made his decision. How about this? I'll text you the formula, and you can use it to exchange for Xian's safety. Although Lin Yi hated the feeling of being threatened, it would be troublesome for Lin Yi to go back now. He might as well compromise and give the formula to Guan Xuemin for Guan Xian. Once Lin Yi returned to Songshan, he could take his revenge on the mastermind. Lin Yi didn't believe that the mastermind wouldn't make the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing after getting the formula. Whoever made the pill would know who the mastermind was, so Lin Yi wasn't in a hurry. Guan Xuemin didn't think that Lin Yi would agree so easily. He didn't know what to do. You don't force yourself. Chapter 1739. Elder Guan, look at what you're saying. Isn't it just a recipe? It's nothing to me. It's nothing compared to Xian's safety. Lin Yi smiled. Alright, let's not waste any more time. I'll send you the recipe right now. Right. Thank you so much. Xuemin said excitedly. Naturally, he knew the value of this recipe. The pills had been sold for sky-high prices back at the auction, and this recipe was even more priceless. And now Linny was giving it away just like that. How could he not be touched? After hanging up, Linny started to think about it. Just give away the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing? He wasn't that kind of guy. Plus, that wasn't Lin Yi's style at all. Lin Yi remembered reading from Zhang Liju's notes that there was a pill called the Great Foundation Establishment Pill, the bone cleansing pill. Its effects were similar to the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, but it was a little more powerful than it. And so Lin Yi opened up the notes and found the recipe for the bone cleansing and bone cleansing pill. He then started making up the recipe based on his own pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Lin Yi had been studying Zhang Liju's notes for a while now. His skills didn't improve much, but his knowledge of medicinal properties and pharmacology had improved by leaps and bounds. The best of the best had two skills. One was an extremely high level of control over the refinement fire, and the other was the ability to create their own recipes, simplifying and replacing the recipes. Just like back then when Zhang Liju simplified the qi gathering pill that had no side effects into the current qi gathering pill. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't have much attainment in controlling the refinement fire, but he had a solid foundation in medicine. His skills weren't any worse than Zhang Liju's, and it could even be said that the old man's knowledge of medicinal properties and pharmacology had far surpassed Zhang Liju's level. Because of something that happened years ago, the old man had spent decades researching medicine and medicinal properties, and so Lin Yi was very familiar with medicine and medicinal properties under the influence of this since he was young. Changing prescriptions was a common thing for Lin Yi, and changing prescriptions wasn't much different from changing prescriptions. Of course, the requirements for the recipe would be different from before, and the requirements for the refiner would be different as well. But the main problem was that Lin Yi didn't care about that. He was only responsible for providing the recipe, and whether or not they could make it was House Kang's problem. 10 minutes later, a completely different pill formula was produced. Only a grade 3 apothecary and above could forge it. Furthermore, there were many valuable medicinal herbs in it. Even if the cost of this pill was not in the hundreds of millions, it would be at least 70 to 80 million. Moreover, this was based on a 100% success rate. For an average pill master, if they could have a success rate of 20% to 30%, it was already not bad. A slightly more powerful 5th-tier pill master, refining a 3rd-tier pill master's success rate was only around 50%. Thus, this imperceptibly increased the cost of the pill, causing the value of a single pill to rise to between 200 million to 500 million. The effects of this pill were similar to the life extension and toxin cleansing pill. It was much stronger than the Foundation Establishment pill, but it was still inferior to the true marrow and bone cleansing pill, which was the Great Foundation Establishment pill. But the pill of bone and marrow cleansing was much harder to make, and the ingredients were rarer as well, so Lin Yi's pill of life extension and toxin cleansing was the difference between the two, and it was no wonder that the hidden House Yu was so eager for it. After making this fraudulent recipe, Lin Yi sent a text to the anxiously waiting Guan Xumin. Guan Xumin felt like a year waiting for half a day without a message from Lin Yi. He was a little uneasy, wondering if Lin Yi would send him the recipe. Although Lin Yi had agreed, his phone hadn't buzzed for so long, and Guan Xumin was afraid that Lin Yi was just being perfunctory. Fortunately, Guan Xumin's phone soon received a text from Lin Yi. "I'm sorry, Elder Guan. The recipe is in my notebook and I had to make a copy, so I wasted some time. The recipe is as follows." The text was from Lin Yi. Lin Yi naturally couldn't tell Guan Xumin that he'd tampered with the contents of the recipe. After all, Guan Xumin was a very honest person, and Lin Yi was afraid that he'd let the Kangs slip. Guan Xumin didn't dare delay after receiving the recipe. He quickly dialed Guan Xian's number again. "Miracle Dr. Guan, how is it? Are there any results? I'm getting a little impatient." Kong Mingming's voice sounded again. "There are only a few people in your company. Is it so hard to make a decision?" I've already discussed it. I can give you the recipe, but you must guarantee X and Xian's safety," Guan Xumin said. "Otherwise I won't let you go." Of course. We people in the underworld have rules. If you give me the recipe, I'll naturally let your granddaughter go. She can't make medicine anyway, so what's the point of having her?" Kong Xiaoming actually had his eyes on Guan Xin, but he didn't want to blow things up. He didn't want to cause more trouble, so getting the formula was the most important thing. Alright, I'll send the recipe to Xian's phone. Let her go after you receive it. Guan Shuamin said. Don't, the call is forwarded so you can only receive voice messages. I'll give you an email address, just send it to me. Kong Mingming said. That's fine. Guan Shuamin nodded. But after you receive the email, you must let Xen go as soon as possible. Of course, but I need to confirm the authenticity of the recipe first. If it's fake, then we'll have no choice but to kill her. Kong Mingming said. You know what happens when you make a fool out of us. Confirm the authenticity? Doesn't that mean I'll have to wait for you to make the pill before I let Xen go? Guan Shuamin frowned, a little unhappy. There's no need to take so long. We just need to study the pharmacology and properties. Kong Mingming had the hidden Yu family behind him. Naturally, they didn't need to wait for the pill to be made. With their experience, they could know the authenticity of the recipe with a little bit of analysis and simulation. Alright, tell me the email address. Guan Shuamin breathed a sigh of relief. Kong Mingming gave Guan Shuamin an email address. Of course, it was a free email address in a foreign country. Guan Shuamin sent the recipe word by word according to Lin Yi's text message, and then called Kong Mingming to inform him. As for Kong Xiaoming, the first thing he did after receiving the call was log into his mailbox and receive the prescription. Chapter 1740. Greed, this prescription requires an alchemist? Kong Mingming looked at the prescription on the computer and was slightly stunned. No wonder his family couldn't come up with anything after researching for so long. The result of their research was a pile of dog *T. It turned out that it required a higher-level alchemist to refine it. It wasn't a problem of his family's ability, it was just that their standards weren't high enough. Kong Mingming couldn't understand the prescription either, but he forwarded it to Yu Zhentian's mailbox. Kong Mingming didn't expect Guan Shuamin to compromise so easily. From his point of view, Guan Shuamin should have gone to Lin Yi, and with Lin Yi's personality he should have gone to Guan Xian and rescued her first. He would only hand over the prescription after being humiliated by the Yu family's Earth-class expert. However, none of this happened. Guan Shuamin directly took out the prescription. This made Kong Ming feel a little regretful. This was really a case of wearing out iron shoes in fruitless searching, only to find it without even looking for it. If he knew this would happen, he wouldn't have cooperated with the Yu family. He could have just found a few hoodlums to kidnap Guan Xin. When he obtained the prescription, his bargaining chips with the Yu family would be much higher than now. But things had already come to this. There was nothing Kong Mingming could do about it, even if he regretted it. Instead, he let the hidden Yu family gain a huge advantage. Of course, the authenticity of the prescription hadn't been confirmed yet, so it was still too early to regret. After Yu Zhentian received the email, he saw that the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing could only be refined by an alchemist above the 3rd level, but he wasn't surprised. This was because Yu Zhentian knew that Lin Yi was an alchemist. Although he didn't know his strength, it wasn't surprising that such a heaven-defying pill came from an alchemist. Therefore, Yu Zhentian took Lin Yi's tampering as a matter of course. This was the so-called appearance causing trouble. Yu Zhentian took a simple look at the prescription and found that the medicinal properties were extremely reasonable. Simply put, there was no problem with this prescription. Everyone who refined pills knew that if one of the ingredients was used improperly, it could cause the furnace to explode. However, this prescription obviously didn't have that risk. Yu Zhentian did not believe that Guan Shuamin or Lin Yi could forge such a reasonable pill formula in such a short time. Unless this was not the pill formula for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. If it was, then there should be no problem. One had to know that people who could change the pill recipe at will were all top alchemists. Not to mention the hidden Yu family, even the heavenly elixir sect did not have such talents. The heavenly elixir sect replied to the hidden Yu family, and Yu Zhentian naturally replied to Kong Mingming immediately. Xiaoming, you're really a good young man. You have a bright future. Things have progressed so smoothly this time. You've made a great contribution. Yu Zhentian already knew the authenticity of the pill formula, so he naturally didn't hesitate to praise Kong Mingming. Oh, young Master Yu, so that pill formula is real? Kong Mingming was overjoyed when he heard Yu Zhentian's words. And it's real. Yu Zhentian said, but this isn't a pill formula, it's a pill formula. I guess your Kong family can't refine it. When we refine it, the sales in the secular world will be given to your Kong family. We won't let you work for nothing. Our Hidden Yu family is very clear about gratitude and grudges. Great, thank you, young master Yu. Kong Mingming was overjoyed when he heard Yu Zhentian's promise. By the way, young master Yu, I still want to ask Guan Xiumin for a few formulas. Can you let Master Yu Shisan cooperate with me? No problem, as you wish. Yu Zhentian waved his hand and said indifferently. This time, the Hidden Yu family was praised and rewarded by the Heavenly Elixir sect. The rewards were also very generous, so Yu Zhentian naturally wouldn't be stingy with Kong Mingming, a great contributor. Thank you so much, young Master Yu. Kong Mingming quickly thanked him. Guan Xiumin's previous straightforwardness made Kong Mingming have other thoughts. Sometimes when a person's greed comes, it can't be stopped. Kong Mingming was like that. He saw how easily he got the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, so he wanted the other two formulas from Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. Hashtag. Chapter 1741. Lin Yi's Fury, Part 1. Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine and pain medicine were popular products. Because of their low prices, the market responded well. Miracle Dr. Kang's Golden Creations cost was too high, and they couldn't sell it at a loss. So they weren't a match for Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine company. So Kang Xiaoming came up with another plan. If he got the formula from Miracle Dr. Guan's company, then Dr. Kang's company might not be able to suppress Miracle Dr. Guan's company, but they could be on par with Miracle Dr. Guan's company. At that time he would be the savior of House Kong. The position of the head of House Kong would belong to him, Kong Mingming. So Kong Mingming thought for a while and called Yu Shisan. He told him not to let Guan Exin go and to keep an eye on Guan Exin. Then Kong Mingming called Guan Xiumin again. Hello? Now that you got the formula, shouldn't you keep your promise and let her go? Guan Xiumin picked up the phone and asked anxiously. He didn't have the calmness he usually had. Guan Exin was his favorite granddaughter, and now that something happened to her he couldn't stay calm. Miracle Dr. Guan, this prescription of yours requires an alchemist to refine it. It's too troublesome to verify it, so we're worried. Kang Xiaoming began to make a big fuss. You're right. Then what do you want? Are you going back on your word? Miracle Dr. Guan's voice was filled with anger. Hee, we won't go back on our word, but if you give us a fake formula, wouldn't we be losing big time? So you'll have to pay a little more security, or else it'll be hard for us to let her go. Kong Mingming said. Security? You're going back on your word. Guan Xiumin said angrily. How can you go back on your word? We agreed that you'll let Exin go if we give you the formula, and now you want security? Don't be angry, Miracle Dr. Guan. It's hard for us to continue this conversation with your current mood. Why don't we talk after you've calmed down? Kong Mingming purposely said in a superior tone. Guan Xiumin was about to explode, but his granddaughter was in their hands, so he didn't dare to get angry. He could only say, how much more money do you want? What do you want? Tell me clearly. Money. I've already said it, isn't it tacky to talk about money? Could it be that Miracle Dr. Guan's memory is bad and he's muddled from anger? Kong Mingming said. I don't need money. What security deposit do you need? Guan Xiumin asked. Miracle Dr. Guan, we'll let your granddaughter go if you give us the prescription for the injury medicine and painkiller as collateral. I'll return them to you after I verify that the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing is real, Kong Mingming said. Prescriptions aren't money. You'll know once I give them to you. What's the point of giving them back to me? Guan Xiumin was amused by Kong Mingming's angry. This guy was greedy and insatiable. He wasn't satisfied after asking for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, he was asking for other prescriptions. Haha, Miracle Dr. Guan, you're a smart one. I won't say anything more. Deal or no deal? Just give me a straight answer. Kong Mingming didn't bother explaining. If it's okay, then I'll let her go. If not, then I'll let her go after I verify the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. But I can't guarantee Guan Xion's safety in the meantime, haha. You know what I mean. Guan Xiumin didn't expect Kong Mingming to be this shameless, but this wasn't the time to piss him off. He could only say, then I'll discuss it and get back to you. That's right. Let's go discuss it. Kang Xiaoming said happily when he heard that there was hope. Miracle Dr. Guan hung up the phone, his chest heaving with anger. He let out a long sigh of relief and dialed Lin Yi's number again. He didn't want to trouble Lin Yi, but for his granddaughter he had no choice but to sacrifice his dignity. The call went through quickly. Lin Yi was concerned about Guan Xian's safety as well, so he quickly asked, "How's it going, Elder Guan? Did they let Xian go after they got the prescription?" Guan Shuamin sighed, a bitter smile on his face. "They're too greedy. They said they'd let Xian go after they got the prescription for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, but now they want the prescription for the wound medicine and the painkiller. I'm guessing that they're from Dr. Kang's family because they're our only competitors." More. Lin Yi frowned, a fire burning in his heart. Was this guy trying to take advantage of him? Did he think he was a pushover? He wasn't satisfied with just the prescription for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, and now he wanted something else? Lin Yi wasn't someone who would let others bully him. He'd explode even in the face of a sky class, let alone Dr. Kang's family. "Yeah, but I don't have a choice. If it comes down to it, I'll give up the shares of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. I'll work for you for free and you can use my name for free as well. I only have one granddaughter, Xinxi." Guan Shuamin was embarrassed to say all this, but he really couldn't give up on Guan Xin. "Elder Guan, look at what you're saying." Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Aren't you treating me like an outsider? You took me in as your disciple when I was in trouble and now you're saying something like this? Plus, Xian's my good friend and I want to save her. It has nothing to do with you, so you don't have to feel guilty. Thank you so much. It's our fortune to have met you," Guan Shuamin said, touched. "Let's not talk about that for now. They're so greedy that they'll probably ask for other things after we give them these 2 formulas. In the end, we might even have to give them the whole company," Lin Yi said. "That's right. I know that too. This kind of serial scam happens all the time on TV, but I really don't have a choice right now," Guan Shuamin said helplessly. "Elder Guan, I'll contact Ling Shan and ask her to see if she can find any traces of the kidnappers. I'll rush back to Songshan as fast as I can. You don't have to worry about this, I'll take care of it for you." Lin Yi couldn't take it anymore. Lin Yi gave him one recipe but he still wanted more. This was too greedy and Lin Yi's bottom line had been crossed. Naturally he had to take care of this himself. "Right, they didn't want us to call the police, saying that they'd kill the hostage if we did," Guan Shuamin said. "Plus, they said that the call had been transferred multiple times, through multiple countries before coming back. Ling Shan shouldn't be able to do anything either." Hashtag. Chapter 1742. Chapter 1747, Lin Yi's Fury, Part 2. "Pretty professional, huh? But no problem, leave it to me." Lin Yi nodded and hung up before quickly returning to Tang Yun, Meng Yao and Yushu's room. "Something happened to Guan Xin, I have to go back to Songshan. Do you guys want to come with me?" "Guan Xin? What happened?" Tang Yun and the others knew Guan Xin and it was strange to hear Lin Yi say this. "Let's talk on the way," Lin Yi said. "Don't waste time." "Okay." Tang Yun and the others weren't stupid people. They nodded after seeing how serious Lin Yi was. They quickly packed their things and left the hotel with Lin Yi. Lin Yi started the car and sped off. Lin Yi didn't exceed the speed limit on the way, but this was an emergency, so Lin Yi had no choice but to exceed the speed limit. After turning onto the highway, Lin Yi's car reached its limit, but Lin Yi didn't stop accelerating. Tang Yun, Meng Yao and Yushu felt like they were on a plane. All the other cars on the highway became shadows in their eyes, disappearing in an instant. Lin Yi told Meng Yao and the others about Guan Xin as he drove. At the same time Lin Yi dialed a number. "Beagle." The person on the other side sounded surprised. "You're calling me on your own?" "I was just thinking that you're busy, so I won't bother you if there's nothing else." Lin Yi smiled bitterly. The hacker princess always had this hostile tone when he contacted her, as if he was the one who'd pissed her off. "Yeah, I'm very busy, I'm so busy that I don't have time to answer your call. I'm hanging up." The hacker princess gritted her teeth. "Don't." Lin Yi quickly stopped him. "Don't hang up. I'm just kidding. Recently my mission hasn't ended. There's nothing big so I didn't contact you," Lin Yi explained. "I don't think there's an end to this mission of yours, right? Do you want to marry into a rich girl's family to complete the mission?" Hacker Princess mocked. Heh. Lin Yi could only smile bitterly at this. Let's not talk about this. I have a serious matter to discuss with you this time. Can you help me check a number? It is said that it has been transferred many times from abroad. Can you locate it? Do you think it's possible? Hacker Princess asked. What's the number? The number is... Lin Yi gave Guan Xian's number to Hacker Princess. Wait a minute, let me check. When it came to business, Hacker Princess no longer joked with Lin Yi but returned to her usual formal tone. Lin Yi wasn't in a rush. He drove towards Songshan while waiting for the results. I found it. The opponent seems to have a master as well. It's just child's play, Hacker Princess said. The call went through dozens of transfers and finally came back through an internet call. According to the search, the target's coordinates are in Songshan. Do you have the GPS? I'll tell you the coordinates and you can input it directly. Tell me. Lin Yi turned on the GPS. This was the car Feng Tianlong gave to Lin Yi. It had all the necessary facilities. The coordinates are... Hacker Princess said a set of numbers. Lin Yi entered the coordinates and found out that the coordinates were actually the underground arena Air Gooden went to. It was originally an abandoned factory that was transformed into an underground boxing arena. After the underground boxing arena was destroyed, it became an uninhabited ruin. Lin Yi didn't expect House Kong to choose such a place. They were good at choosing. Not only was there no one paying attention to it, but it was also hard to be discovered. Thanks. Lin Yi said to Hacker Princess. I have something to do today. I'll talk to you another day. I'm very busy. Bye. Hacker Princess hung up. Lin Yi shook his head and sped up again. This car was specially modified by Feng Tianlong, and Lin Yi sped up to the max. Lin Yi's car was just a blur in the highway and nothing could be seen. The passing cars all thought that they were seeing a ghost car. A driver who watched too many sci-fi movies rubbed his eyes. Wow, it's not a UFO, is it? Oh, it feels so good. Yushu had never been in a car this fast before. She screamed. It's even more exciting than a roller coaster. Tang Yun, on the other hand, held Mengyao's hand tightly. She was a little scared, and while Mengyao wasn't as scared as Tang Yun, she was still a little nervous. Only that idiot Yushu had no sense of danger at all, just like Xiao Xiao. But Lin Yi wouldn't let the people in the car be in danger. He used Qi to protect the car when he was driving. Even if an accident happened, there wouldn't be any danger. We're here. Wait for me here. Don't go in. No matter what happens, wait here. Understand? Lin Yi parked the car in a dark corner far away from the arena and spoke to Mengyao and the others in a serious tone. Hey, we got it. Don't worry. Tang Yun nodded with a pale face. But you have to be careful. Okay, I'll be careful, Lin Yi said. Although it was dark in the underground boxing field, it could be seen from the two cars parked at the door that there were people in the underground boxing field. Otherwise, no one would park a car in this wilderness. Lin Yi looked at the license plate. It was indeed from Donghai. Now he was sure that it was done by House Kong. An unknown rage rose in Lin Yi's heart. During the meeting of the noble houses, Lin Yi let House Kong go because House Kong was related to Kong Xiaobo. Lin Yi didn't want to put Kong Xiaobo in a difficult position, so he didn't do anything to them. Plus, House Kong had been suppressed by Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, and they were struggling at death's door. Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company had taken over most of the market. Their medicine wasn't a problem, but the price was too high. Even if it was an old brand, people wouldn't be able to buy it. After all, people would always choose the cheaper ones. Since the effects were about the same, naturally they would buy the cheaper ones. But at this moment, Lin Yi couldn't take it anymore. What Kong Mingming did had exceeded Lin Yi's tolerance. Lin Yi suppressed his anger and tiptoed to the arena. As expected, the door was locked from the inside. Chapter 1743. Logically speaking, there shouldn't be a lock here. If there was a lock, it could only mean that there was someone inside. This further proved that Hacker Princess information was correct. Of course, a lock of this level wasn't a problem for Lin Yi at all. Lin Yi had a master uncle who specialized in breaking locks, so Lin Yi learned a little bit of it. However, Lin Yi wasn't a professional researcher, so he didn't study the notebook that his master uncle left him too deeply. As long as it was enough for his daily use, Lin Yi didn't expect himself to become a great thief. After successfully unlocking the door, Lin Yi entered the underground arena. It was no longer as bright as it used to be. It had been empty for a long time and it had become dilapidated. Leaking rain and broken chairs made the entire arena look dilapidated. Lin Yi's target was the room in the arena. The kidnappers should be hiding in one of the rooms. In the quiet arena, Lin Yi could easily detect the slightest movement. However, while Lin Yi could detect the other party's movement, the other party could also detect Lin Yi's movement. Even if Lin Yi had concealed his aura, even a normal person wouldn't be able to escape the senses of a mid-earth class master, Yushir-san. Moreover, Yushir-san was 2 levels higher than Lin Yi. It wouldn't be difficult for him to sense Lin Yi's arrival. At this moment, Kong Mingming was sitting in front of his computer proudly, waiting for Miracle Dr. Guan's reply. In his mind, he was drawing a beautiful blueprint for the future. His position in the Kong family would be comparable to Grandfather Kong. Kong Mingming couldn't help but laugh out loud. But at this time, Yushir-san suddenly walked out from the inner room and said, "Master Kong, someone's here." "Someone's here?" Kong Mingming was stunned. Who would come to this godforsaken place? "I don't know, but I have a feeling that he's coming towards us. Maybe he's here to rescue the hostage." "Careful," Yushir-san said, "leave this place to me. Just watch the hostage." "Alright, I'll leave it to you then." Kong Mingming was also shocked. He picked up the computer in his hands and was about to run into the room. But just then the door was kicked open. Yushir-san had already expected that someone would come, so he was expressionless at the moment. However, Kong Mingming was shocked. He subconsciously shouted, "Who is it?" "It really is you, Kong Mingming." Lin Yi walked into the room and saw Kong Mingming in the room. A fierce look flashed across his eyes. "You sure are fast." Seeing that Lin Yi was heading there himself, Kong Mingming wasn't afraid anymore. Because there was still an Earth-class mid-phase master here and he could definitely take care of Lin Yi. "Your opponent is me, young Master Kong. Take care of the hostages," Right 13 said calmly. Earth-class mid-phase. Lin Yi also noticed Right 13 at this time, but his strength made Lin Yi's heart skip a beat. He didn't think that the Kong family would be able to invite an Earth-class mid-phase master to hold the fort. But it made sense. The Kong family knew that he was an Earth-class early-phase master, and yet they still dared to provoke him. It was obvious that they had something up their sleeves, and this confidence came from this Earth-class mid-phase master in front of him. Lin Yi didn't dare to be the slightest bit negligent. When he fought Shueisheng, it was a complete fluke. But even so, it wasn't easy. Now that he was facing an opponent 2 levels higher than him, Lin Yi had no choice but to start channeling the art of dragon mastery right from the start and condense a chi bomb. Die. Right 13 didn't answer Lin Yi. Instead, he suddenly raised his hands and prepared to attack Lin Yi. Lin Yi was shocked. He quickly retreated and asked anxiously, "Which force are you from? Why are you interfering with the matters here?" However, Right 13 didn't seem to have any intention of talking nonsense with Lin Yi. He turned a deaf ear to Lin Yi's question. Instead, he shook his wrist and seemed to be channeling his inner force, preparing to use a martial technique. "Where are you from?" Lin Yi frowned. When he fought against masters of this level before, they were usually very arrogant. If Lin Yi talked to them, they would always reply with a few words to show how powerful they were. But this person in front of him made Lin Yi miscalculate. He didn't want to talk nonsense with Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't have the time to condense a chi bomb at all. In fact, if it were any other time, Right 13 would naturally act pretentiously and say a few words of contempt in front of Lin Yi. After all, it was not easy for an expert to reach his level. When he encountered an opponent, it was normal to scold the other party to make him feel satisfied. However, the key problem was that Right 13 came with an order this time. Right Jintian had strictly ordered him not to talk too much lest he revealed the identity of the Right family. Therefore, with Right Jintian's order in front of him, how could Right 13 dare to talk to Lin Yi casually? Since he didn't speak, he couldn't just stand there and stare at each other, right? In that case, he could only fight. Right 13's approach made Lin Yi break out in a cold sweat. All along, Lin Yi had been very conceited. Even in the face of an expert who was 1 or 2 levels higher than him, he would not show weakness. This was because Lin Yi had a trump card. He had a trump card like the Chi Bomb, which could allow him to cross levels to injure the enemy. But now Lin Yi realized that when this trump card could not be used, he was really weak. The other party's martial arts technique was obviously at the point of perfection, while Lin Yi's own martial arts technique was about the same. Just as Lin Yi was thinking, Right 13 had already displayed his martial arts technique. With his left and right palms as the qi circulated, one could vaguely see that his palms were surrounded by a light green mist. It seemed that this was not the original color of the qi, but the effect of the martial arts technique. With the eruption of the light green mist, Right 13's entire body leaped up like a spring, forming a shadow and pounced toward Lin Yi with the force of a thunderbolt. Earth-level martial arts technique. Thunderstorm palm. Accompanied by this roar, Right 13's figure was also right in front of Lin Yi. The cold sweat on Lin Yi's forehead instantly flowed down. Right 13's move actually made him feel breathless. This was a real Earth-level martial arts technique. Previously, when he faced Blue Hair, that guy was also an Earth-level early-stage expert. He was probably like Lin Yi, having just learned martial arts not long ago. Therefore, before he could display it, he was beaten senseless by Lin Yi. However, the person in front of him was different. He was a genuine Earth-level mid-stage expert. Although Lin Yi's cultivation realm was lower than Right 13's, with the current situation, there was no way for Lin Yi to hide. Unless there was a glimmer of hope for him to escape by using nimble qinggong, he had no other choice. But could Lin Yi run now? Chapter 1744. If Lin Yi ran away, there was no telling whether or not He Shan could catch up. Even if He Shan didn't chase after him, if He Shan took Kong Ming Ming and Guan Xian away, then He Shan wouldn't be able to catch up to him. At that time, He Shan would come here for nothing, and it would be difficult to find traces of Kong Ming Ming again. Moreover, it was hard to say what a furious Kong Ming Ming would do. So after weighing the pros and cons, Lin Yi could only bite the bullet and face it head-on. Earth Tier skill, Frenzy Fist. Lin Yi used the skill that Faubert taught him, which he was not familiar with, to face it head-on. But in terms of momentum alone, He Shan was more than a head weaker than He Shan. Boom. Boom. With two loud bangs, the four palms collided and Lin Yi was sent flying. The collision of the powerful skill and true qi brought about a series of explosions, and this earth-shattering force also sent Lin Yi flying. Lin Yi didn't take it head-on but took the opportunity to retreat. The ground that Lin Yi's feet passed was all cracked by Lin Yi, which allowed Lin Yi to offset some of the force. But even so, Lin Yi was still seriously injured. Pfft! Lin Yi spat out a mouthful of blood and stood up shakily. At this moment, the most injured parts were his palms and the bones inside were all shattered. This was a head-on collision, and it was a collision with a mid-earth tier master. Naturally, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to get away with it. On the other hand, although He Shan's palms were also hurt by Lin Yi's head-on collision, he didn't suffer any major internal injuries at all. He calmly swung his hands and said, "Kid, you're quite strong, but your strength is too low." "Is it low?" Lin Yi panted heavily. His body was using the art of dragon mastery to heal the injured parts of his body. First it was his palms. Because the surface area was small, it was easier to heal, but the internal injuries were not so easy to heal. Initially, Lin Yi wanted to buy some time, but Yu Shan didn't continue after saying that. Instead, he raised his palms again and slapped at Lin Yi. This time it seemed to be even more majestic than before. Die. Right 13's palms instantly arrived in front of Lin Yi. Lin Yi desperately used the art of dragon mastery to protect his heart meridian to avoid being killed by Right 13. The rest of his true qi was used to support his earth-rank martial skill, Frenzied Fire Fist. Boom. Boom. With another two loud sounds, Lin Yi was sent flying again. This time the situation was obviously not much better than the last time. Lin Yi had no way to retreat this time and directly hit the wall behind him. In an instant the wall was smashed by the huge impact of Lin Yi. The entire wall cracked and collapsed, turning into a pile of rubble. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was pressed under the rubble. This gave Lin Yi a chance to breathe. Lin Yi once again used the art of dragon mastery to heal the injuries on his palms and body. Although there was not much time, he would heal as much as he could. Lin Yi didn't know if he could wait until he recovered from his injuries to condense a true qi bomb, but Lin Yi had to work hard. Of course, Yu Shan didn't give Lin Yi much time. When he saw that Lin Yi hadn't walked out of the ruins, he didn't have the patience to wait. Instead, he used the earth-level martial arts technique again and slammed it at the pile of rubble. "Damn, can't you rest for a while?" Lin Yi almost cried. It was the first time he had seen such an opponent. He only attacked without speaking, so Lin Yi couldn't use his trump card of stalling for time to condense a true chi bomb. Lin Yi had no choice but to bite the bullet and stand up from the ruins. He waved his palms to meet the attack head-on. Boom. Boom. With another 2 loud bangs, Lin Yi was sent flying once more. Wow, Lin Yi, weren't you very arrogant? Weren't you very powerful? You asked the Kong family to scram at the meeting of the aristocratic families? How about now? Have you received your retribution? Kong Mingming laughed happily when he saw Lin Yi retreating step by step. Let me tell you something. It's not time yet. Kong Mingming, you're ruthless. Where did you find such an expert? Lin Yi asked as he healed his injuries. Although Lin Yi's internal injuries were getting more and more serious, every time Lin Yi was injured he would first repair his palms and meridians. This way it wouldn't affect the strength of his attacks. As for the rest, Lin Yi could only grit his teeth and endure it. Why should I tell you? Kong Mingming was not stupid. He knew that Lin Yi was trying to get information out of him so he wouldn't fall for it easily. He's not dead yet? Yusher-san was also a little surprised. Logically speaking, even if Lin Yi was an Earth-level expert he should be dead by now. Even if he wasn't dead he should be so injured that he couldn't get up. How could he still talk? However, although Yusher-san was surprised, he waved his palms again and hit Lin Yi. His purpose was very simple. He wanted to help Kong Mingming get rid of Lin Yi, so he didn't need to say too much to Lin Yi. Lin Yi flew out again without any suspense, but he miraculously stood up again. This repeated 3 more times and Yusher-san finally became a little impatient. This was because his palms were already swollen. Even if Lin Yi was an Earth-level expert in the early stage, which was 2 levels lower than him, under such a high-intensity head-on situation he still brought a certain amount of damage to Yusher-san. This made Yusher-san a little angry. He was famous for his palms and he was also the best at using palms. However, after slapping Lin Yi so many times he actually didn't kill Lin Yi. The most unbelievable thing was that Lin Yi's hands weren't crippled. He could still use martial arts to fight against him. Could this kid be a physical cultivator who specialized in training his hands? Thunderstorm Palm. Yusher-san attacked again in anger, but Lin Yi still countered each move as it came. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, Lin Yi's lips curled into a smile. He thought, even if I can't beat you I still want to fight. Drops of water can still wear through a stone. As long as I work hard enough I can grind an iron rod into a needle. Isn't your martial arts a palm technique? Alright then, I'll cripple your palms. Let's see how you're going to fight then. The reason why Lin Yi had such confidence was because Yusher-san's palms were initially unscathed, but now they were swollen. This gave Lin Yi hope. Again. Lin Yi healed his palms and meridians, stood up and said to Yusher-san. Yusher-san was going crazy. Who the fuck is this? He's still not dead after so many hits. He clearly suffered serious internal injuries, but his hands are still fine. My palms are already swollen and he still wants to fight again? Enraged, Yusher-san slapped Lin Yi again, but Lin Yi welcomed it with a smile. Chapter 1745. Although Lin Yi had already suffered severe internal injuries, Lin Yi had to grit his teeth and hold on to his last breath. He knew that he couldn't fall. Once he fell it would be over for him and Guan Exen, so Lin Yi had to fight. Every time he fell, Lin Yi told himself that he had to stand up, or else there would be nothing left. Another round of attacks began. Lin Yi endured the pain all over his body and wanted to stand up. But this time he really couldn't stand up. He felt like his body was falling apart and he was very sleepy and tired. He really wanted to close his eyes. In front of Lin Yi's eyes, the blood stains turned into a white light. He had an urge to be free. It was as if, behind the white light, he saw peace. That was the Jade Space. As long as he went to the Jade Space, Lin Yi would be able to rest. He wanted to walk over. Whoosh. A gust of wind beside his ear suddenly woke Lin Yi up. He had almost automatically entered the space of the Jade Pendant. That was too dangerous. If he had really entered the space of the Jade Pendant he would have definitely died today. Lin Yi bit his tongue suddenly, and the pain brought him a moment of clarity. Lin Yi suddenly stood up, raised his fists and met Right 13's attack. Although Lin Yi seemed to be attacking with full strength every time, he was getting weaker and weaker. Fortunately, Right 13's palm wasn't Wu Qintian's palm. This time in the loud bang, Lin Yi sharply heard the crisp sound of bones breaking. Lin Yi was a doctor and he was exceptionally sensitive to this sound. He was immediately delighted. He saw results again. Right 13's palm must have been broken by him. This made Lin Yi, who was originally unable to hold on, excited again. Before it was swelling and now it was broken. If he continued like this, both of Right 13's palms would definitely be crippled. As soon as the thought popped up, Lin Yi suddenly perked up. He quickly channeled the art of dragon mastery and healed the injuries on his hands and meridians. He then stood up and looked at Right 13 with his head held high. Let's go again. Although Lin Yi's body was covered in blood and his pale face had a hint of death, Lin Yi's voice was so determined, without a hint of compromise. Although Guan Xian's mouth was sealed and she couldn't speak, her eyes weren't blindfolded. She saw every single scene of the battle between Lin Yi and Right 13. At that moment, Guan Xian's heart felt like it was being stabbed by a knife. She shook her head desperately and tears fell like rain. She wanted to stop Lin Yi and let him escape quickly, but she couldn't make any sound. Her weak whimpers didn't have any effect at all. Guan Xian was a nurse and came from a medical family. How could she not see that Lin Yi was now a crossbow? If this continued, Lin Yi would definitely die. When Kong Mingming saw that Lin Yi was still able to get up, he immediately shouted, "Get rid of this kid." However, U13 was the only one who knew his own situation. His palms were about to be crippled by Lin Yi. He wasn't a physical cultivator. Although he used his palms weren't hard. If this continued, his hands would probably be crippled without a doubt. Although the inner sex palm was crippled, it could be recovered with some medicine and pills, unlike the outer sect which would suffer heavy losses. However, after recovery it would not be as flexible as before. After all, no one was like Lin Yi who could use his own mantra to heal injuries, or use true qi to heal injuries like the Sun family. Relying on medicine was still a little lacking. Moreover, once the bones in his hands were shattered, even if he relied on medicine to recover, he would still be half crippled. Unless there was medicine that was third grade and above to reconnect bones and tendons. However, how could the hidden Right family have such medicine? It was rare even in the Heavenly Elixir sect. How could they give it to him? Seeing that Lin Yi stood up again, Right 13 was annoyed. Since he became famous, he had never seen an Earth-class expert like Lin Yi who didn't care about his own life. One had to know that it was extremely difficult for an ordinary person to cultivate to Earth-class. Even if it was a battle, they would fight if they could win and run if they couldn't. Unless there was a fatal blow, there was no room for retaliation. Now Lin Yi clearly had many opportunities to escape. Right 13 was even thinking that if Lin Yi ran, he wouldn't chase after him. However, Lin Yi didn't run. He stood up again and again to fight with him. This made Right 13 feel helpless. He wanted to curse out loud. Did you think it was easy for you to cultivate to Earth class? Did you have to fight to your death and cripple me before you stopped? However, seeing Lin Yi's firm tone and determined gaze, Right 13 knew that this guy was playing with his life. The soft feared the hard feared the unreasonable, and the unreasonable feared the reckless. This saying was also applicable among cultivators. Seeing that Lin Yi still wanted to come again, Right 13 was really a little afraid. Although he was confident that he could kill Lin Yi, the price he would have to pay was too high. He had no enmity with Lin Yi and was only here to help. If he killed Lin Yi, he wouldn't get any benefits. Instead, he would have to pay the price of crippling his palms. It was obvious which was more important. Therefore, when he thought of this, Right 13 retreated a little. He was different from Kong Mingming. Whether Lin Yi died or not had nothing to do with him. Young Master Kong, this person is crazy. Let's go. Once the thought of retreating arose, Right 13 didn't want to tangle with Lin Yi anymore. His palms were his and there was no need to lose them just to curry favor with Kong Mingming. Besides, now that he had the pill recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, his mission was considered complete. When he returned to the Yu family, Right Jintian wouldn't blame him. At most, the Kong family would have some complaints. Go. Kong Mingming was taken aback. He didn't expect that Right 13, who had the upper hand and was forcing Lin Yi to retreat, would suddenly want to leave. However, Right 13 didn't answer. Instead, he flew over and picked up Kong Mingming. Although his hands were in pain and he really didn't want to run away with a person, if he left Kong Mingming here, the Yu family would inevitably be criticized by others. They would say that the Yu family got rid of the donkey when it was no longer of use. If that happened, who would work for the Yu family in the future? Take her away too. Kong Mingming wasn't willing to fail just like that. How could he let Guan Exin go so easily before he got the recipe? One more person wasn't a difficult thing for Right 13. Since he had already brought one up, there was no need for a second. However, just as Right 13's hand was about to grab Guan Exin, he suddenly felt a strong gust of wind coming at him from behind. Put her down. Lin Yi waved his fists and rushed at Right 13 as if his life depended on it. Target equals underwake. Chapter 1746. His life hangs by a thread. Chapter 1751. His life hangs by a thread. It could be said that Lin Yi's entire body was full of openings, but this kind of reckless madness made Yu Shisan shudder. He subconsciously let go of Guan Exin and suddenly met Lin Yi with his palm. Bang! There was a loud noise as Lin Yi's fists collided with Yu Shisan's palm again. Every time they collided, Lin Yi suffered a fatal blow. Now that Lin Yi was like a crossbow, this palm almost made Lin Yi spit out his organs. However, Lin Yi did not compromise. He gritted his teeth, endured the pain in his body and forcefully took the palm. His mouth was full of blood, but he said firmly, "You can leave, but if you take her away, I'll fight you to the death." Yu Shisan was really afraid of Lin Yi. This time he clearly felt that the degree of fracture in his palm was much greater than before. Although he could kill Lin Yi if he continued to fight, what was the point of killing him? What if his palm was crippled? Yu Shisan glanced at Lin Yi, took a deep breath and quickly left the place with Kong Mingming without saying a word. As for Guan Exin, he was not in the mood to catch her. It was not worth it to compete with a lunatic like Lin Yi's somewhat thin figure stood there and watched Yu Shisan leave. When he was far away, he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. That was close. Lin Yi thought to himself. The only thing that kept him going was his willpower. If he were to fall, then both he and Guan Exin would be done for, so he gritted his teeth and persevered. He could see Yu Shisan's concerns, and so he fought him with his life on the line. Fortunately, Yu Shisan couldn't take it anymore, so he gave up. Lin Yi gritted his teeth, tore the ropes on Guan Exin's body and tore the seal on her mouth. Guan Exin cried out as tears streamed down her cheeks. Lin Yi waved his hand and interrupted Guan Exin. "I can't hold on much longer. Tang Yun's car is just outside the door, under the shade of the tree." After that, Lin Yi fell to the ground. This time, Lin Yi could no longer stand up because Lin Yi was sure that Right 13 had left, so he had no scruples in his heart and could no longer hold on. Apart from his palms, there was not a single part of his body that was not injured. The moment he fainted, Lin Yi also entered the space of the jade pendant. Phew! Lin Yi could finally breathe a sigh of relief. As long as he didn't lose his life, there was a possibility of recovery. After entering the space of the jade pendant, Lin Yi felt a wave of lingering fear. This time he almost lost his life. It was a complete fluke that Lin Yi was able to escape. First of all, Right 13 did not know Lin Yi's background. Seeing Lin Yi stand up again and again, he was scared by Lin Yi's madness. However, Lin Yi knew that if the person he met today was not Right 13, but someone who had a deep hatred for him, it would definitely not be easy today. Also, if Right 13 did not practice martial arts that only relied on his palms, if he supplemented it with martial arts that relied on his legs or weapons, then it would be useless for Lin Yi even if he risked his life today. All along, Lin Yi had been conceded that he could fight opponents who were of a higher level than him. He relied on his trump card of condensing qi. This trump card allowed Lin Yi to be successful in every endeavor. Even when facing masters who were stronger than him, he was still calm. However, today it made Lin Yi feel deeply frustrated. Above the earth stage, it was completely different. If the opponent had martial arts and started fighting as soon as they came up, then Lin Yi would have no advantage at all. He could only rely on his hot-bloodedness to fight with the opponent. This time he was lucky. Next time he might die. For the first time, Lin Yi had a deep desire and expectation for martial arts. Without martial arts to compete with the opponent, it was difficult for him to move forward. But to find a martial technique that was suitable for him to cultivate, it was even more difficult. Lin Yi had not touched the essence of Faubert's martial arts. He only cultivated it roughly. If he really fought with the opponent, he would definitely be at a disadvantage. Just like today, if it was not for Lin Yi's ability to quickly recover from his injuries, he would have died long ago. The art of dragon mastery must have the existence of a martial arts technique that went with it. Only a martial arts technique that was compatible with the mantra could exert the greatest effect. This was also the reason why Faubert did not advise Lin Yi to casually cultivate martial arts. Right now Lin Yi could not wait to return home. He wanted to open the second layer of the stone door. He wanted to see what kind of benefits awaited him behind the second layer of the stone door. It would be best if there was a powerful martial arts technique that could solve Lin Yi's current problem. As for Jiao Yazi, Lin Yi was too lazy to ask. At the moment his memory had not been unlocked, so Lin Yi could not get any information from him. What he wanted to know he already knew. There was no need to ask anymore. Therefore the first thing Lin Yi did after entering the space of the jade pendant was to cultivate. Guan Xian looked at Lin Yi on the ground. For a moment she did not know what to do. But when she remembered Lin Yi's last sentence, she hurriedly carried Lin Yi on her back. She did not know where a weak girl like her got her strength from. Although Lin Yi was not heavy, it was still a bit of a stretch for Guan Xian. But Guan Xian did it, and did it without any pressure at all. She even forgot about Lin Yi's weight. She only had one thought in her mind, and that was to be moved. Deeply moved. She never would have thought that Lin Yi would risk his life to save her. All this while, although Guan Xian had a crush on Lin Yi did not respond to her at all. He only treated her as a friend. This made Guan Xian feel a little disappointed. But at this moment, Guan Xian realized how important she was to Lin Yi. Lin Yi's strength was obviously not as strong as Yushir San, but Lin Yi risked his life to save her. Guan Xian really did not know how to repay Lin Yi. She only knew that if Lin Yi was fine she could even die in his place. Looking at Lin Yi's dying body, Guan Xian was scared. She was really scared. She was afraid that she would never see Lin Yi again. She would feel guilty for the rest of her life. Guan Xian quickly ran out of the arena with Lin Yi on her back. Kong Mingming's car was long gone. Guan Xian looked around and saw a Jeep Cherokee under the shade of a tree not far away. It must be Lin Yi's car. The people in the car saw Guan Xian coming out with Lin Yi on her back and quickly got out of the car. Tang Yun, Meng Yao and Yushu were also very anxious. They saw that Yushir San drove away with Kong Mingming and Lin Yi didn't come out for a long time. They were worried, but Lin Yi told them not to go and check. They could only wait patiently. #target equals and avoid. Chapter 1747. Chapter 1752. Apology. But when they saw Guan Xian coming out of the arena with Lin Yi on her back, they couldn't hold it in anymore and ran over to her. Lin Yi. Tang Yun couldn't help but scream when she saw Guan Xian's unconscious body covered in blood. What's wrong with him? He got hurt trying to save me. Guan Xian's tears hadn't dried yet and she couldn't hold it in anymore. Meng Yao and the others didn't look too good after hearing Guan Xian's words. How could they be happy that Lin Yi had gotten so heavily injured just to save Guan Xian? Tang Yun had always thought of Guan Xian as a love rival, and she wasn't as close to her as she was to Meng Yao. Meng Yao and Yushu, on the other hand, didn't like Guan Xian at all. Lin Yi got hurt in the bank because of her and now he was doing it again. Give me Lin Yi. Meng Yao didn't want Guan Xian to carry Lin Yi anymore. We rushed back from the journey for you and Lin Yi got hurt like this. Tang Yun's face darkened as well, but she still spoke up. Forget it, Yao Yao. This isn't the time to talk about responsibility. Let's get Lin Yi home first. Aren't we going to the hospital? Guan Xian was surprised. No need. Meng Yao said coldly. She didn't know why, but Meng Yao wasn't happy. What was the relationship between Lin Yi and Guan Xian? Why would he risk his life to save her? But Meng Yao felt like she was the eunuch panicking instead of the emperor. Tang Yun didn't say anything, so why was she panicking? Right, she was fighting for Tang Yun. That's it, Meng Yao thought. Guan Xian could see Meng Yao's hostility towards her and she didn't know what to do. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Guan Xian was worried about Lin Yi, and now she couldn't hold it in anymore. She was worried about Lin Yi too, and she didn't want Lin Yi to be like this. But she couldn't say anything and she couldn't stop them. All right, Guan Xian sis, we're not blaming you. Tang Yun knew that as long as Lin Yi wasn't dead, there was hope for him to recover. This had happened many times in the past, so she wasn't too worried about him. Seeing that Lin Yi was still breathing, her tone became better. Yao Yao is also very anxious, but he came to save you. It was his own decision. You don't need to feel too guilty. Meng Yao rolled her eyes at Tang Yun's words. I'm fighting for you and you're soft-hearted again. But Tang Yun was soft-hearted, and Meng Yao knew that Xiao Xiao wouldn't have become Lin Yi's small wife if it weren't for that. And she and Yushu wouldn't have allowed Lin Yi to stay in the villa. And so Meng Yao didn't say anything else. She was a soft-hearted person, and after hearing Tang Yun's words, she realized that it was Lin Yi's decision to save Guan Exin, so it wasn't Guan Xian's fault. Meng Yao put Lin Yi in the car and the driver was Guan Xuemin's house. She wasn't too happy with Guan Exin, but Lin Yi was in a situation like this, and Xuemin was the only one who could save him if something happened to him. Lin Yi could heal himself, but he was worried that accidents might happen. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I got kidnapped. Guan Xian said guiltily. It's nothing. My attitude just now wasn't very good. I'm sorry. Meng Yao didn't want to put Lin Yi in a difficult position, so she didn't say anything. She was different from Tang Yun, who'd interacted with Guan Xian a couple of times, but Meng Yao and Guan Exin were just acquaintances. Lin Yi can heal himself, but we'll have to ask your grandpa to check if there's anything else. Tang Yun explained. Of course we'll do our best. Guan Xian nodded. I don't think it's necessary. Shield Bro's looking better and better. He's probably healing himself now. Yushu had been paying attention to Lin Yi's changes on the road. Oh, that's great. Tang Yun turned around to look at Lin Yi, and as expected, Lin Yi looked much better than before. Tang Yun let out a breath of relief. Guan Xian's tense heart relaxed after hearing Yushu's words. As long as Lin Yi was fine, everything was fine. Otherwise, she'd die of guilt for the rest of her life. Guan Xuemin was happy when he heard that his granddaughter was fine, but he was shocked when he heard that Lin Yi was on the verge of death. He rushed out of the villa and looked at Lin Yi with a serious expression. Is it that serious? Grandpa Guan, Lin Yi can heal himself. He should be fine now. Don't worry too much. Tang Yun was very polite to Guan Xuemin. She knew that he was Lin Yi's business partner, so he was also Lin Yi's elder. We came here to wait and see. If there are any other problems, we'll ask for your help. After all, Lin Yi's injury is the most serious this time. Okay. Guan Xuemin didn't find it strange that Lin Yi could heal himself. Lin Yi was a doctor and a miracle doctor at that. It wasn't strange that he could heal himself, but it was the first time Guan Xuemin heard that he could heal himself by lying down. However, Lin Yi was a practitioner and he couldn't be judged by common sense. Guan Xuemin quickly helped Tang Yun and the others move Lin Yi to the villa. After settling Lin Yi, Meng Yao and the others sat in the living room, and the atmosphere became a little awkward. Although Tang Yun said that she didn't blame Guan Exin on the way here, Guan Exin still felt uncomfortable. Lin Yi suffered so much for her and she didn't know how to repay Lin Yi. For a girl, especially a beautiful girl, repaying a hero with her body was the best way to repay a hero. It sounded a little cliché, but it was a principle that never changed. The hero saved the beauty and the beauty loved the hero. In Guan Xian's heart she had a good impression of Lin Yi. But now, even if Guan Xian wanted to repay him with her body, Tang Yun wouldn't agree. Guan Xian was older after all and had been working for quite some time. She had more experience in society than Tang Yun and the others, and she could tell with one look that Meng Yao and Yushu were interested in Lin Yi. Of course, they could also be good friends. Guan Exin was just a woman's intuition. Tang Yun, I've troubled Lin Yi this time. Because of my family's matters, I've caused him to get injured. I'm really sorry. Guan Xuemin sighed and said, I'd like to apologize for delaying your trip. Hashtag. Let's eat something first, then take a shower and change my clothes. You guys don't mind, do you? Of course not. Guan Exin looked at the energetic Lin Yi and shook her head excitedly. See, I told you that Shield Bro was fine. He's the best. Yushu had been the calmest person from the start. She had an inexplicable confidence in Lin Yi. Are we going to find Kong Ming Ming for revenge now? Revenge? Of course we will, but not now. Lin Yi's eyes sharpened. He didn't know why House Kong had invited an Earth class. He didn't know what their relationship was with House Kong. Even if Lin Yi wanted to take revenge, he had to think twice. He was lucky enough to escape this time, But he wouldn't be so lucky if he was surrounded by 2 or more Earth-class masters. You don't talk nonsense. Lin Yi knows what he's doing. Meng Yao didn't want Yushu to get into trouble. It's fine. Lin Yi smiled. He picked up a drumstick and started eating. Right, Xin, who's that Earth-class master? Did Kong Ming mention him before? He didn't. Guan Xin thought about it carefully and shook her head. That master seemed to be a man of few words. He didn't speak at all. He only responded a few times when Kong Xiaoming talked to him, but he didn't address him as well. Lin Yi nodded. It seemed like he wouldn't be able to get any useful information from Guan Xin. He could only try to find out from the side. Elder Guan, let's keep a low profile for the company. We'll talk to Fatty Lai. We shouldn't have any conflicts with House Kong for now. We'll talk about it when I come back. Lin Yi's trip back to his hometown this time was to bring Tang Yun and Meng Yao on a vacation. But in reality, it was to open the second stone door. As a result, Lin Yi couldn't allow any mishaps. He wouldn't be able to take care of Song Shan's situation when he got to West Star Village. The medical company, on the other hand, kept a low profile for now. As long as they didn't have any conflicts with House Kong, there shouldn't be any problems. After all, House Kong had gotten the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. It would be extremely difficult for them to develop the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. If they focused all their energy on this, they wouldn't have the time to cause trouble for Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. This gave Lin Yi some breathing space. As long as he could catch his breath, he'd be able to turn the tables and wash away the humiliation he'd suffered. After all, Lin Yi was very confident in the second stage of the art of dragon mastery. The first stage was already very overpowered. How strong would the second stage be? Understand? Don't worry, we won't act rashly when you're not here, Guan Shuamin said. Alright, let's eat. It was a close shave this time. Shu, what's with your faces? Lin Yi said as he ate. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief when they saw that Lin Yi was fine. They were starting to feel hungry, and so they started eating with Lin Yi, inside House Kang's villa. Yu Xintian came and sat in the main seat in the living room. Behind him was Yu Shisan. Opposite him was House Kang's old man, Dr. Kong. Behind Dr. Kong was Kong Ming. The cooperation between House Yu and House Kong was quite successful. Although Yu Shisan was injured in the end, they got the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. I thought it was some good stuff. Turns out it's just a recipe for an injury medicine and a painkiller. Do you guys have to be like this? When Yu Xintian found out that Kong Ming wanted these 2 recipes, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Hashtag. Kong Ming said excitedly, in the future our Kong family will rely on the Yu family. For the Yu family and the Kong family, this cooperation was a win-win situation. Both sides had obtained the benefits they wanted. As for Lin Yi, he was ready to embark on his journey again. Elder Guan Xinxing will be leaving now. We won't disturb you anymore. If there's anything, call us anytime. Lin Yi and the others finished their lunch and were ready to leave. Hey, be careful on the road. Guan Shuamin said. Guan Xin stood at the side wanting to say something but hesitating. She wanted to say something but she couldn't because Tang Yun and Meng Yao were there. Xinxing, what do you want to say? Lin Yi saw Guan Xion's strange expression and asked. Guan Xin pursed her lips, not knowing what to say. Yun Yao Shu, wait for me in the car. Lin Yi saw that Guan Xin didn't want to say it in front of others, so he ordered. Okay. Tang Yun wasn't jealous. Since Lin Yi saved Guan Xin, it was enough to show how important Guan Xian was in Lin Yi's heart. However, the two hadn't developed into a couple yet, so Tang Yun wasn't too worried. If they wanted to develop, they would have done so long ago. It wasn't something that could be changed in a short period of time. If they really wanted to develop, she wouldn't be able to stop it. Meng Yao and Yushu didn't say anything. From their point of view, Guan Xian probably wanted to say some words of thanks in private, so they got in the car with Tang Yun. Can you say it now? Lin Yi smiled. Guan Xin blushed, a little embarrassed. I'm going to quit my job soon to study more advanced medical knowledge. I won't be able to see you before I leave, so I wanted to say goodbye in advance. Oh? You've made up your mind? Lin Yi knew about Guan Xian. Yes, I'll be leaving in a few days, Guan Xian said. Study hard and improve every day. Lin Yi wanted to encourage Guan Exin, but that was all he could think of. Guan Exin couldn't help but smile. I'm not a kid anymore, of course I'll work hard. That's a good thing, and it's also one of Grandpa Guan's wishes, Lin Yi said. Yeah. Lin Yi, I'm going to study, it might be pretty strict. I don't think I'll have time to come back often. We won't be able to see each other often. Guan Exin lowered her head, a little embarrassed. After a while she mustered up all her courage and said, wait for me to come back, I'll be your assistant for sure. Lin Yi paused, then smiled, okay, I'll wait for you. Medical knowledge was only a support to Lin Yi. It was what Lin Yi was after, but since Guan Exin had this thought he didn't want to discourage her. Guan Exin nodded, then goodbye, have a safe journey. Lin Yi didn't say anything else and got in the car. As for what Guan Exin and Lin Yi talked about, Tang Yun and the others didn't ask. Everyone had their own thoughts, and asking too much would make it seem like they didn't trust Lin Yi. Before she left, Meng Yao gave Ping Zhan a call. She hadn't gone home yet, and while it was only halfway through she still had to let her family know. Hello? Yao Yao, what do you need from Daddy? Peng Zhan's voice sounded very excited after the call was connected, as if he had found something good. Daddy, something happened on the way so we came back. We're in Songshan now, we haven't left yet. Where are you? Should we go see you? Mei Yao asked. I'm busy at the company so don't come. Go have fun, I've been too busy lately, I can't spend time with you guys. Peng Zhan said. On the other side of the phone someone was saying something to Peng Zhan. That's fine Daddy, take care of yourself, don't overwork yourself. Meng Yao reminded. Chapter 1750. Don't worry, Daddy's big project is starting to pay off. It's only been a few days and the company's cash flow has more than doubled. Peng Zhan couldn't help but laugh as he spoke. Alright. Congratulations. Meng Yao didn't know much about the company's operations, but earning money was a good thing after all. Alright Yao Yao, enjoy yourself, Daddy needs to do something, there's something I need to do here. Peng Zhan said. Okay, bye Daddy. Meng Yao hung up and shook her head. She turned to Lin Yi. Let's go, Daddy's too busy, he doesn't have time. Lin Yi wanted to say something, but he didn't say anything after some hesitation. He didn't know much about business, but he'd overheard Meng Yao's conversation from the sidelines. It didn't make sense for a company like Peng Zhan to be able to double their capital in such a short amount of time. Peng Zhan Industries wasn't a tech company, they didn't have any inventions, so there was no way they could double their capital in such a short amount of time. But Peng Zhan was a veteran in the business world and he shouldn't make any mistakes. Peng Zhan Industries received a call from En Mingyue just as he hung up. Broen, how's it going? Peng Zhan asked. Haha, congratulations, we've earned another 10% from our investment. En Mingyue said proudly. No way. We earned that much again. Peng Zhan said surprised. Of course, this trader is a master Jiang Wen met when he was studying abroad, he's quite familiar with the futures market. And Mingyue said, if he hadn't offended someone overseas he wouldn't have come to me. Then, should we increase our investment? Peng Zhan asked, a little tempted. Forget it, it's just for fun. We all have our own businesses, it's fine. And Mingyue said, plus Bro Chu, do you still have money? All your businesses are real estate, right? It's true. I'll think about it. Peng Zhan said, a little regretful. Okay, that's all for now, I'll let you know if there's any news. And Mingyue said. Alright, thanks for the trouble, Broen, Peng Zhan said quickly. After hanging up, and Mingyue gave Jiang Wen a thumbs up. Jiang Wen, that's a good idea. You've tricked Chu Peng Zhan step by step and it's just as you expected, he's going to invest more, of course. Who wouldn't be tempted by such a huge profit? Jiang Wen said. Let's wait a bit longer. We'll provoke him a bit more in a couple of days, I think he'll act up soon. But what if he stops while he's ahead? Won't we lose money? And Mingyue was a little worried after all, it was all just a story En Mingyue had made up, and the money Peng Zhan had brought over was still in En Mingyue's company account, and En Mingyue had only told Peng Zhan about it when she saw that it was making money. Don't worry, father. The hypnotist has already given him a hint. He'll go crazy for sure. Jiang Wen said without worry. At that time the entire Peng Zhan Industries will be ours. And I'm relieved now that you've said that. And Mingyue nodded. On this day Lin Yi and the others arrived at a small town near the highway. They were planning to eat and stay for the night. They were getting closer and closer to West Star Village. Linny didn't travel day and night. He was a practitioner, but Tang Yun and the others weren't. They wouldn't be able to rest well in the car and they'd be very tired the next day. Plus, they'd stayed at various small towns and they'd stroll around the town's market at night. This was also Mengyao and Yushu's first time on a road trip. They used to travel a lot, but they didn't know how to drive, so they'd never experienced this kind of stop-and-go experience. At night, they had dinner near the Express Hotel, and as usual they went to the town's night market. There weren't many shops in the town, only a huge market. Here they could buy all sorts of things. Mengyao and the others lived in a big city, so they hadn't experienced it before. However, this place wasn't too different from a night market. Of course, the market mostly sold local products and daily necessities. It wasn't like the city's night market that sold snacks and trinkets. As for local specialties, they no longer bought any. The trunk of the car was already full. Originally, they planned to buy some local specialties every time they went to a place, but as they bought and bought, they unknowingly had too much. If they bought any more, they would not be able to fit it all. So they were just here to watch. I heard that the bastard hunted today and killed a legendary black phoenix? Black phoenix? I think it's wild. Who knows? But the price is so high, only an idiot would buy it. Yeah, even if it's a phoenix, it can't fly after eating it. You only know how to eat. He killed it, what else can it do other than eat? That's true. Lin Yi and the others were walking around the market looking at the local specialties when they overheard two stall owners talking at a nearby stall. Out of curiosity, Lin Yi asked casually, "What's a black phoenix?" Who knows? I heard it's a black phoenix, a spirit beast in the dark night mountain. Of course, it's just a legend. I think it's a black chicken. The stall owner answered casually. Lin Yi was just asking casually, but when he heard it was a spirit beast, his heart skipped a beat. Spirit beast? What's that? Is it like those animals in the novels that can fly? Spirit beast? I don't know what a spirit beast is, but the older generation said that there are spirit beasts on this mountain, but they're very rare. It's said that drinking their blood can prolong one's life. The stall owner said, "As for what you're talking about, I've never heard of it." "Okay, thank you." Lin Yi nodded. "Shield bro, are you going to see that black phoenix?" Yushu guessed Lin Yi's intention when she saw him stand up. "Yeah, I want to join in the fun." Lin Yi didn't say it clearly. Chapter 1751. As expected, there was a group of people surrounding a stall to watch the show. Behind the stall stood a burly man. Above his head was a signboard with the words, "Wang Ba Hunter's Specialty" written on it. Beside Wang Ba was a chopping board. On the chopping board there were some beast carcasses. There were wild boars, robes, pheasants, etc. But at the front of the chopping board, the most conspicuous place, there was a black pheasant-like animal carcass. I say, Wang Ba, are you crazy for money? Is this a black phoenix? A young man pointed at the black pheasant's carcass and said to the man called Wang Ba, "I've checked the catalog. This is clearly the legendary black phoenix. If you don't want to buy it, just stand aside and watch. There will always be someone who knows." Wang Ba didn't seem to want to argue with the young man. The black phoenix is a legendary spirit beast. Although I do not know what a spirit beast is, since it is a spirit beast it must be very powerful. With your level of skill, you think you can kill a spirit beast? The young man said, unconvinced. Wang Ba was embarrassed, but he said, "If you say it's not, then it's not. I'll sell it just like this. 10,000, take it or leave it. If not, I'll go home and eat it myself." Lin Yi looked at the black phoenix and frowned. Lin Yi also came from a mountain village. His little brother Gooden's family was a hunter, so Lin Yi had some understanding of pheasants. This thing in front of him was definitely not a pheasant. Although the two were similar, they were definitely different. Lin Yi didn't know what it was exactly, so he couldn't rule out the possibility of it being a spirit beast. As for Wang Ba being able to kill spirit beasts, it wasn't surprising. Spirit beasts like the skybolt pig that didn't have any attack abilities were easy to kill. Not all spirit beasts had attack abilities. Moreover, spirit beasts had different levels of strength. However, Lin Yi was a little confused. There were spirit beasts nearby? Generally, the places where spirit beasts appeared were places with extremely dense heaven and earth spiritual qi. Those places were often occupied by sects and clans. Could it be that there were sects nearby? 10,000 yuan. Although it wasn't a lot for Lin Yi, it was already a sky-high price for these simple mountain people. Therefore they looked at Wang Laolu with ridicule. Most of the people nearby were here to watch the show, but there wasn't anyone who was interested in buying it. If Wang Laolu was sold for a few hundred yuan, someone might buy it to try it. However, it was not worth it to buy a pheasant for 10,000 yuan. Is this a phoenix? Lin Yi asked. Wang Laolu had faced too many questions today, so he didn't want to answer Lin Yi's question. However, when he looked up, he saw that Lin Yi and the others were obviously wearing big city clothes. They must be a few tourists from other places, so his eyes lit up. It's useless for a rough person like me to eat it, and I don't know how to eat it. It's better to sell it for money. Wang Laoyo's face turned red. In fact, he didn't really believe in legends, or else why would he sell it? Sounds good. Let's buy it then. Can you make it cheaper? Lin Yi asked calmly, but in his heart he was in a state of shock. The legend might not be groundless. On the Dark Night Spiritual Mountain, there might really be a Dark Night Palace. Perhaps it was an existence similar to the Ice Palace, that kind of ancient sect, but they didn't come into contact with the secular world, so these people thought it was just a legend. It's not cheap. Wang Laolu have already said it. If I can't sell it for 10,000, I'll take it back and put it into soup. Wang Laolu was a straightforward person and he cared about his reputation. Chapter 1752. I see. Have you been to that Dark Night Spirit Mountain? Lin Yi asked. Who would dare to go there? It's the middle of the mountain, and in the middle of the Dark Night Mountain, there's a natural moat. It's a ring-shaped ravine so deep that you can't see the bottom. Who can climb over it? Wang Laolu shook his head. Plus, it's always shrouded in mist. I'm afraid you won't be able to come back. I see. Lin Yi nodded. So you're saying that the Black Phoenix came from there? Of course you didn't see how high it flew. It's quite high. Luckily, I'm an experienced hunter, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to catch it. Wang Laolu bragged proudly. Who doesn't know how to brag? The woman couldn't help but say, fine. If that's the case, I'll buy it and try it. Lin Yi nodded and took out a stack of cash from his backpack. He passed it to Wang Laolu. You've really bought it? Wang Laolu couldn't believe his eyes. He earned 10,000 yuan in a blink of an eye? Yes, I'll try it on the road. Lin Yi laughed. In fact, he didn't know why he spent 10,000 yuan on this so-called Black Phoenix. However, when he saw the Black Phoenix, the jade seemed to give him a strong hint and he had the urge to buy it. Wang Laolu was overjoyed. He quickly packed up the Black Phoenix and gave it to Lin Yi. He took the 10,000 yuan as if he was afraid that Lin Yi would regret it. After Lin Yi bought the Black Phoenix, he didn't stop. He brought Tang Yun, Chu Mengyao and Shu back to the hotel. Wang Laolu kept the 10,000 yuan under everyone's envious eyes. To the people of the town, this was not a small amount of income. As for the woman at the stall next to them, she was incomparably jealous. Fortunately, the onlookers had all dispersed and her business had also recovered. Just when everyone was sighing at Wang Laoyo's luck, Lin Yi was already targeted. Shield bro, this doesn't look like the way back to the hotel. Did you remember wrongly? Yushu noticed that Lin Yi seemed to be walking further and further away until he came to a very remote place. There were no villages or shops in front of him, and all he could see was a field of crops. Lin Yi stopped and turned around, blocking Tang Yun, Mengyao and Yushu behind him. You've been following us for so long, shouldn't you come out now? Behind Lin Yi, 3 people suddenly appeared on the empty path. They were all masked and dressed in black. The leader seemed surprised that Lin Yi had discovered them. How did you discover us? You've been following me since the market. If I didn't realize it, wouldn't I be too slow? Lin Yi didn't answer the man's question directly. Instead, he asked a question of his own. You even know this? The leader was surprised. Kid, if you've discovered us, then so be it. If that's the case, then take out all your belongings. Just 10,000 to buy a wild chicken. You're really rich. If you don't share some with us, it'll be unforgivable. You're here and you're not running away. Instead, you're asking for money. I've never seen someone as stupid as you. Lin Yi shook his head. What do you mean? The leader paused. Why don't you take a look at where we are? Do you think a tourist would come to a place like this in the middle of the night? 3 golden class masters? Lin Yi asked faintly. Who are you? The leader felt that something was wrong. Yeah, Lin Yi and these tourists, what were they trying to do by coming to a place like this? And when Lin Yi pointed out their strengths, the leader finally understood that they weren't good people. They probably lured them here on purpose. Otherwise, if they dared to lure them here knowing that they were golden class masters, then they must have something up their sleeves. Tourists. Lin Yi answered faintly. What about you guys? Robbing? The robbers here are really strong. Golden class masters. Usually golden class masters would be bodyguards for rich people. This kind of robbing was not skillful and dangerous. How could it compare to being a guard? Therefore Lin Yi was very confused about their identities. We are members of the Crazy Horse Gang. Are you one of them too? The leader's tone towards Lin Yi was obviously different. Lin Yi slightly activated the art of dragon mastery. The strength of the early phase of Earth class flashed. This was to intimidate these people so that they wouldn't dare to act rashly. Otherwise, from their tone, they seemed to belong to a local gang, a type of horse gang. There seemed to be quite a number of them. But thinking about it, there was a spirit mountain nearby, and the spirit chi of heaven and earth was abundant. It wasn't strange for some people to gather in the vicinity and borrow the spirit chi to rob foreign merchants. As long as they didn't affect the local residents, they wouldn't reject the Crazy Horse Gang. But Lin Yi didn't want to cause any trouble on the journey. He wasn't afraid of himself, but if he brought 3 girls who had no strength, it wouldn't be fun if they were ambushed by a group of horse gangs. Therefore Lin Yi showed his strength. With the strength of an early phase of Earth class, these people wouldn't dare to act rashly no matter how daring they were. Unless they were stupid and didn't know the difference between Golden class and Earth class. Earth class early phase. Just as Lin Yi had expected, after a flash of shock passed through the leader's eyes, his tone became even more respectful. Senior, are you a guest of the Dark Palace? You know of the Dark Palace? Lin Yi asked without changing his expression. This wasn't the first time he'd heard of this name, but Lin Yi didn't know what the Dark Palace was. He could only get some information from the horse gang. The Crazy Horse Gang that I'm with makes a living here, so of course I know about the Dark Palace. The man said. After a while, Meng Yao suddenly opened her eyes, but her eyes were clear as if she didn't see the people in the room. She turned her head and stared at one direction, and a golden color flashed in her eyes. Then her whole body emitted a golden light, and it stopped behind her, forming a pair of golden wings, shining with dazzling light. Chapter 1754. If what happened before was shocking, then what was happening now was even more shocking. They didn't know what happened to Meng Yao. Suddenly Meng Yao let out a clear, crisp cry, like the cry of a bird. It made Lin Yi and the others shiver. The golden light on Meng Yao's body dimmed, and the golden wings on her back disappeared as well. She returned to her normal skin color, and with a shake of her body she fell to the ground. The whole process lasted for about half an hour. It was only at this moment that Lin Yi dared to walk over and pick Meng Yao up from the ground. He placed her on the bed and quickly checked her body condition. But he didn't find anything out of the ordinary after checking. Meng Yao's pulse was normal and her stomach wasn't bulging either. Her stomach was still flat. Who knew where the Black Phoenix had gone to, or if it had been digested in just half an hour? Shield bro, how's Yao Yao sis? Yushu asked anxiously. Everything looks normal. Lin Yi shook his head and said, nothing out of the ordinary. Then just now? Tang Yun recalled what happened just now and her heart was still pounding. It was simply too strange. It was as if Meng Yao had turned into a phoenix at that moment. Meng Yao felt like she was hallucinating. I'm not sure, maybe it's the after effects of eating the Black Phoenix, but from the looks of it she's fine. Lin Yi said. Then, when will she wake up? Yushu asked. I'm not sure. She looks like she's asleep now, we just need to wait for her to wake up naturally. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He had never seen something like this before. He wouldn't have bought the Black Phoenix if he knew it was so strange. It'd be his fault if Meng Yao got sick from eating it. Then now we... Yushu let out a breath of relief when she heard that Meng Yao was fine. Right now I don't know. But to avoid any accidents, let's wait for her to wake up on her own. Linny didn't dare to forcefully wake Meng Yao up. He was afraid that something might go wrong. All right. I wanted to try that black phoenix, but it's so scary. It's a shame I didn't. Yushu said with a pat on her chest. Yao Yao, you're in big trouble now that you're eating it alone. That doesn't seem to be her intention. We talked to her but she didn't answer. She didn't seem to have any self-awareness at the time. Tang Yun had been staying in the room to observe Meng Yao's movements, so she was the one who observed it the most carefully. That's true. Sister Yao Yao isn't someone who eats alone. Xiao Shu nodded and said, but the situation just now was really scary. I don't know what happened. Everything can only wait for Yao Yao to wake up. Linny didn't know what was going on either. He shrugged and said, let's rest early. We won't be able to eat, huh? Yeah, let's rest then. We'll wait for Yao Yao sis to wake up tomorrow. Yushu nodded. Linny had a lot of questions as well, but he couldn't get an answer right now. She was able to receive the inheritance of the Dark Night Spirit Mountain and had a chance to step into the heavenly Tao. But after many generations of reproduction, the Dark Phoenix's bloodline was very little in Wan Er's generation. Though each generation's inheritors tried their best to preserve the purity of the bloodline, there would always be some losses. However, it was said that the Heavenly Elixir School could ask their ancestor to concoct a bone and marrow cleansing dan for Wan Er's child. However, the condition was that Wan Er had to marry the young master of the Heavenly Elixir School, who was now the master. Chapter 1755. Taking the pill would awaken the bloodline in the body, and there was hope of reviving the bloodline. Although it wouldn't be as powerful as the first Dark Phoenix user, it was the best way. Everything was ready, but the palace master Wan Er met Pingzhan during her training and the two eloped. They traveled all over the world, and in order to avoid the eyes and ears of the Dark Palace, especially since the Dark Shadow Group was under Elder Li's control, they purposely let things go. In the end, Wan Er and Pingzhan settled in Songshan and gave birth to Meng Yao. They thought that she could live here peacefully for the rest of her life. But the Dark Shadow Group wasn't just Elder Li's home, the Grand Elder's power had infiltrated them as well, and so they found Wan Er and forcefully brought her back to the Dark Palace. But after all these years, Wan Er couldn't break through to Sky Class, and she couldn't awaken the bloodline in her body. One reason was because she lost her virginity early, and the other was that there was too little bloodline left in her body, and the chance of awakening it was too low. Wan Er's actions pissed the Grand Elder off. She completely ruined the Dark Palace's plan. Originally, the Grand Elder had planned to let Wan Er's child take a bone-cleansing pill to awaken the bloodline, but now Wan Er had given birth to Meng Yao with a mortal, and because Pingzhan wasn't a practitioner he couldn't preserve the bloodline, and so Meng Yao's bloodline became even more impure. Even if she took a bone-cleansing pill, it wouldn't be able to awaken the bloodline. Plus, Wan Er's actions had completely severed the relationship between the Dark Palace and the Sky Elixir sect. So how could the Sky Elixir sect concoct a bone-cleansing pill for Meng Yao? With no other choice, the Great Elder could only place his last hope on Wan Er. If she didn't use a secret technique to preserve her bloodline to give birth to a daughter with another cultivator, then the bloodline of the Dark Phoenix would be severed when it came to her. But in Wan Er's case, not to mention whether she was willing to give birth to a daughter with another practitioner, other practitioners would not want a broken flower like Wan Er. That was why the highest elder had a belly full of resentment towards Wan Er. She wanted to see the Palace of Darkness prosper in her lifetime so that she could live up to the old palace master's trust. But now, Wan Er didn't understand all this before. Now that she understood all this, she didn't regret it, but she didn't hate the Great Elder either. So what if he regretted? So what if he didn't regret? Nothing could be changed. She could only cultivate even harder. Lin Yi, on the other hand, had no idea what was going on in the Palace of Darkness. Meng Yao, on the other hand, didn't show up again. The next morning Meng Yao woke up as usual, but the first thing she said was, "Pot? But add water." Shu and Tang Yun were worried about Meng Yao last night, so they went to bed very late. They were sleeping soundly when Meng Yao woke them up. The two opened their eyes sleepily and Yushu looked at Meng Yao in confusion. Oh. Sister Yao Yao, what are you talking about? What pot? Didn't you guys tell me to watch the pot? I fell asleep by accident. Meng Yao said, surprised. She realized that she was lying on the bed. Shouldn't she be lying on the outer side of the room? Tang Yun was much more awake now. She couldn't help but laugh when she saw Meng Yao's situation. Yao Yao, what happened last night? You don't even know? Last night? What happened? Meng Yao paused. Sister Yao Yao, you took everything for yourself. Yushu said. Took everything for myself? Why would I take everything for myself? Meng Yao was even more confused. Sister Yao, you really don't know? Yushu saw that Meng Yao's expression wasn't fake. She remembered that Meng Yao didn't seem to be conscious yesterday and she was even more surprised. What do I know? Meng Yao shook her head. Tu Yunyun, what are you guys talking about? What exactly happened yesterday? Tang Yun and Yushu looked at each other. They didn't know how to talk about what happened yesterday. They didn't know if they should talk about it or not. They could read each other's thoughts from their eyes. It was better for Lin Yi to talk about it. Sister Yao, wait, I'll go get shield bro. Yushu got up from the bed and ran outside. Shu, the button on your shirt isn't fastened properly. You're naked. Tang Yun reminded. It's fine. Shield bro saw it anyway, Yushu said. I mean, what if there's a waiter outside the door cleaning the room? Tang Yun said helplessly. You're right. Just fasten it first. We'll take it off later, Yushu nodded. Tang Yun and Meng Yao almost fainted. What kind of logic was Shu using? They wanted to say something but Shu had already run out of the room. Lin Yi had been worried about Meng Yao. When Shu came, he ended his practice and ran to Meng Yao's room with Shu. Seeing Lin Yi come in, Meng Yao subconsciously pulled her collar. She wasn't wearing a bra and from Lin Yi's vantage point he could see inside. But for some reason Meng Yao regretted it after pulling her collar. If Lin Yi peeked, it would prove that she was charming. It was natural that he didn't look. Meng Yao was starting to wonder if she'd lost her charms after living with him. Why was this guy's self-control so strong? But she didn't know that although Lin Yi was a little perverted, he was still a gentleman. The art of dragon mastery had the effect of calming one's mind. That was why Lin Yi could be so calm in front of her and Shu. Besides, Lin Yi was a doctor. Sometimes he looked at her and Shu's body with the attitude of a doctor. He wouldn't have any other thoughts. Yao Yao, you're awake? Lin Yi walked over and held Meng Yao's wrist, checking her carefully. Meng Yao saw Lin Yi's actions and felt even more strange. Tang Yun and Shu were already acting weird. Lin Yi checked her body as soon as he entered the room. It made Meng Yao feel like she was recovering from a serious illness. Lin Yi, what are you doing? I'm not sick. You don't remember anything about what happened yesterday? Lin Yi had heard about it from Yushu before, but he still had to ask. Yesterday? What happened yesterday? What's wrong with you guys? Why are you acting so weird? Why are you asking me the same question? Meng Yao was surprised. Lin Yi, tell me what's going on? Shu and Yun Yun seemed to be hesitating. Chapter 1761, Strange Dream Mid. Meng Yao wasn't an idiot. She knew that Tang Yun and Yushu didn't answer her questions and went to find Lin Yi. It was obvious that something shocking had happened yesterday. Holy Haoyao, tell me first. How did you feel last night? Lin Yi asked instead of answering Meng Yao's question. Yesterday? Meng Yao frowned as if she was recalling yesterday's situation. After a while she said, last night, the three of us agreed to look after the pot for a while. When it was my turn I was bored and tired. I don't know why I fell asleep. I don't know what happened after that. When I woke up I was lying on the bed and I subconsciously asked them to look at the pot. So you don't know anything about what happened after you fell asleep? Lin Yi nodded. What dream? Lin Yi asked. I dreamt that I wasn't me. Meng Yao didn't know how to describe it. What do you mean you weren't you? Lin Yi paused after hearing Meng Yao's words. It means that I'm controlling the person in the dream, but that person isn't me. Meng Yao explained ambiguously. It's like when you're dreaming and there's Shu in your dream and you can control Shu's body. Wow, Yao Yao, you're so evil. Yushu said. Shield bro can control Shu, ahem. Lin Yi coughed twice, not sure if he should laugh or cry. You don't mess around. Yao Yao was just making an analogy. I understand what she meant. She's the main character in the dream, not her, but she can control it. That's it. Meng Yao nodded. I dreamt that I was the head of a very powerful sect and everyone called me Palace Master. Palace Master? Linny paused. Was this what they meant by what you think about in the day is what you dream about at night? They just talked about the Dark Palace and Mengyao had a dream like this? Yes, everyone called me Palace Master. The weird thing was that Palace Master didn't look like me but we looked similar. I don't know who she was. Mengyao continued. What happened was that there was a ritual and someone brought a black animal called Dark Phoenix for me to consume. And I actually swallowed the Dark Phoenix. Can you guys imagine that? I swallowed an animal the size of a wild chicken whole. Now that I think about it, how scary is that? But the me in the dream seemed to be doing something natural. Tang Yun and Shu's faces were filled with weird expressions after Mengyao said that. Linny didn't know whether to laugh or cry. When Mengyao asked, "Can you guys imagine it?" everyone had the same thought. Not only could they imagine it, they saw it with their own eyes. They saw it with their own eyes yesterday. Mengyao swallowed the Dark Phoenix, and that Dark Phoenix was the Dark Phoenix Mengyao was talking about. And then, Linny didn't say anything else. Dark Phoenix, then I seemed to have entered a very mysterious state. I could see the scene in the dream and I knew that I didn't have consciousness in the dream. At that time, a golden light flashed in my eyes, and my body was surrounded by a ball of golden light. It circled around me in the dream and then it all gathered on my back, forming a pair of golden wings. At that time, everyone was worshipping me, congratulating me for getting this Dark Phoenix bloodline. Mengyao frowned as if she was shocked by the scene in the dream as well. And then, Linny nodded. And then, I don't think I dreamt after that. When I woke up it was already morning. Mengyao thought about it and said with lingering fear. Was it scary? It was. But Yao Yao, do you know what you did yesterday? Yushu asked. What did I do? Mengyao asked. You swallowed the Dark Phoenix you bought yesterday. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. It was exactly the same as your dream, you just put the Dark Phoenix in your mouth and swallowed it. After that, there was a flash of gold in your eyes, and your body was covered in a golden light as well, forming a pair of golden wings. Ah? Mingyao's eyes went wide. So, that wasn't a dream? I don't know if it was a dream or not, but the scene in the dream was very similar to what happened last time. Linny said, that's why Shu said you ate it alone. No way. I just ate the Dark Phoenix I cooked yesterday? Mengyao subconsciously touched her stomach, but there wasn't any strange feeling. Yeah, Yao Yao, was that Dark Phoenix delicious? I wanted to try it but you drank all the soup. Yushu licked her lips and said regretfully, I love eating strange things the most. It's really me. Mengyao blushed as she pointed at herself, embarrassed. She couldn't believe her eyes. It was you. Tang Yun nodded. We were really scared. Then, after I ate it, it was just like what I said. Mengyao was shocked as well. Yeah. Linny said, it was almost the same. But luckily you didn't seem to have any problems. That's scary. Mengyao couldn't imagine how she could swallow an entire Dark Phoenix. But Lin Yi and the others wouldn't lie to her. So the only explanation was that she really did swallow an entire Dark Phoenix last night. However, there wasn't any abnormality, which was unimaginable. It's not that scary actually, Linny said. It's just a little weird. Did your dream hint at something? Hint? You're saying that I got the Dark Phoenix's bloodline after swallowing the Black Phoenix? Mengyao asked curiously. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.